Last time, I talked about how the word robot literally means slave. So let's talk about the two biggest sci-fi universes ever created and how one of them didn't even seem to notice. Hi, I'm Michael Kilman, anthropologist and the author of the sci-fi series The Chronicles of the Great Migration, and this is your Anthropological Quick Take. Star Wars is, at its core, a story about rebellion against fascism. Hell, I know I've got friends everywhere. I literally named my dog Cassian. The entire saga is built around the scrappy resistance fighting against an authoritarian empire that crushes freedom wherever it finds it. But the rebels own slaves. Droids are everywhere in Star Wars. They think, they feel, they form attachments. R2-D2, BB-8, Chopper, C-3PO, and more. They all express fear, loyalty, grief, and real personality. At best, they're treated like beloved pets. At worst, like broken appliances. And the nicest thing you can say about most Star Wars characters is that they're good slave owners. Star Wars built an entire underclass of thinking beings, gave them expressive eyes and cute beeps, and just sort of moved on. The enslavement of potentially sentient beings is literally background furniture in one of the most beloved fictional universes ever created. And few of us noticed, because the framing made us feel like good owners. We didn't think twice about it. Owners of beings whose entire memory and history can be wiped at will or sold off into forced servitude whenever it's convenient. Here's the part that really gets me, though. In Solo, a Star Wars story, they introduce L337, a droid actively advocating for droid liberation. She fights for droid rights, and then, when she dies, gets uploaded into Millennium Falcon, and the franchise never mentions droid freedom ever again. They saw the thread, they picked it up, and they cast it into the wind. Star Trek, on the other hand, did something much braver. In one of the best episodes of science fiction TV maybe ever, an episode of the Star Trek Next Generation called The Measure of a Man, Data, the android, is put on trial. The subject of the court case? Is he property or is he a person? Can Starfleet force him to submit to an experiment against his will so they can replicate his technology? Picard acts as his lawyer and makes what I think is one of the most compelling arguments about sentient life ever put on screen. He says, sure, Data might be a one-off creation, an oddity, but if they rule against him, Starfleet could potentially build an entire race of Datas created specifically to serve. And what do you call a whole race of people with no choice but forced labor? Do I even need to say the word? One universe built its entire mythology around fighting oppression and never noticed it was practicing it. The other faced the hard question head on. The origin of the word robot means slave. Star Trek remembered that. If you missed that last video, go check it out.